1990s, a phenomenon appeared called the trading card game, which rose to extreme popularity due to the Magic the Gathering. Coming off high from my AD&D ride, I quickly started collecting the game, attempting to make decks with which I got defeated by my 8-year-old sister, who promptly antied most of my good cards. I read up in magazines brought over by her and discovered many more trading card games I would like, but the one that stuck out was INWO, aka Illuminati New World Order. I had one card given with the magazine, called Trading Card Games. The game itself wasn't available in Belgium, so that was the only card I had for a while. Flash forward a decade or so later, where I got my hands on several cards from a person in Canada, including a full set of INWO, the one with everything, for what, in retrospect, was a penny. I got my hands on more cards, the Deluxe Edition, Subgenius expansion, and I got even more in a trade with someone in Australia. I still don't have all the cards, and I doubt I will ever have, but the second-hand market is too expensive, and even trading has a downside thanks to shipping and taxes. I'm currently waiting for Illuminati Confirmed, an online version I've been wanting for almost 2 decades, to come out so I can have all the cards and play it more, because despite my love for this game, I only played it twice.
INWO is a game of conspiracies and ironically has a couple of conspiracies of itself, as it was part of a small controversy as Steve Jackson's games got raided by the FBI in 1990 for his previous game based on the Illuminati. Things get even more weird if you realize that many of the cards from the 1995 version have illustrations that resemble events that would occur decades later. In INWO, we play a group of conspirators, whether it's the Illuminati, the Gnomes of Zurich, or many of the others, who will build up a network of co-conspirators and play out events in order to achieve their goal. A goal that is different for each group, but pretty much sums up to global domination and total control. Each group has their own goal and their own win conditions, and you are allowed to play the same group, which merely indicates several factions in the group vying for that total control.
There are several versions of this game, so many in fact it can get pretty confusing at times. There was the Illuminati RPG, which many of these card games I'm showing off were based off. There's INWO, aka Illuminati New World Order, the 1995 collectible card game version where you could build your own deck. This had a limited run with gold letters and an unlimited run with colored italic letters. These were followed by the factory set, which was the one with everything, featuring black cards for each card that was in the original version. This was followed up by INWO Deluxe, which offered a more simplified version of the rules and had some changes, pretty much mixing up the factory set with the original INWO. Next is the second edition of the deluxe version with art reminiscent more of Munchkin, which, to me, is not very appealing. This version also featured updated cards to reflect the times we are living in right now.
First of all, we have this INWO book, which features a lot of information about the game. You have all the card list and the rarity. You have the card styles, among others, from the limited to the factory set. Some bibliography, all the cards explained in detail. As you can see, there are plenty of cards to collect, and unfortunately I might not have all of these. But hey, what can you do? Then there were bibliographies on each and every single conspiracy group, like Shangri-La, the UFO, Servants of Cthulhu, of course the Illuminati, the Network, the Adepts of Hermes. This didn't feature the Subgenius yet because it wasn't released at that point, and these are extensive rules and variations that you can play. More rules, strategy, explanations. Overall, this is a very interesting book, and I've spent a lot of time in this trying to understand the game. This is the deluxe version of Illuminati, which has simpler rules and features all the cards, kind of like the one with everything version. These are the factions, the Shangri-La, the network, of course, the expansion set from the original called the Society of Assassins. Then we have the Gnomes of Zurich, the Bavarian Illuminati, the Discordian Society, and the Church of Subgenius, which was also an expansion, Servants of Cthulhu, Extraterrestrial Aliens, the Bermuda Triangle, which could be the Atlanteans. One of the expansions for the Deluxe Edition was called Mutual Assured Distraction, which reintroduced New World Order cards that could be played and would affect all players. There are 4 colors that get replaced if the NWO card is drawn of the same color, and these NWO cards can only be removed by certain other cards. There are also these cards with the yellow border that are called specials, which pretty much give you, and only you, an advantage during play. These are group cards, which are the organizations, areas, people, and other that you have under your control, either directly or via other groups. Each group has several parts on their card, outgoing arrows that allow this group to control up to 3 other groups. Each group has a power indicating the strength of this group, which is required during attacks. The attacks primarily being of such a nature that you will have control over another group, although it is possible to utterly destroy them if you deem necessary. There's also resistance, indicated in the defensive capabilities of that group, useful against attacks. There's income, being the amount of capital this group brings to the table every round. And finally, an alignment that shows the position of this group on the political, philosophical, or social spectrum, allowing for bonuses and penalties during combat and other offensive phases. Alignments are mostly opposing entities that will affect your play if you encounter the wrong or the right opponent. Government is the opposite of communist, liberal is the opposite of conservative, peaceful is the opposite of violent, straight is the opposite of weird, criminal doesn't have an opposite alignment, and fanatic is always an opposite of all other fanatics. All these offer you bonus points and penalties during play, which will affect combat severely. As you can see, the American Autoduel Association is violent and weird, has a power of 1, resistance 5, and an income of 1. Another expansion is the Bavarian Fire Drill, which gave us 110 new cards, both being group cards and special cards that you could use in the game. The second expansion is called the Y2K, based on the event that never happened, which also gave us new cards, about 109 new cards, also new groups and specials that we can use. Let me quickly run through some of these cards. Next up is the Subgenius version, which is a standalone version of the annual card game, but it can be mixed with the Deluxe Edition to get even more options during play. We have a manual, of course, which is as we are used to by Steve Jackson games in a simple print. As you might expect, most of the cards in this expansion deal with subject matter regarding the Subgenius, like Dr. K, Tail and Legume, the Pinks, Glorps, Bobbles, Jesus B, Yetis, and a lot of other things. So in this version you play with several factions within the Subgenius cult. So there are no other factions available in this expansion. The art is also different, but it doesn't matter really. Let me show off some more cards. the Hour of Slack, the website, a lot of Bob imagery. Overall, a very eclectic and weird stuff, which is normal for the Subgenius. Let me go through some of the cards in fast forward. And that's it for this expansion. Give Me Slack or Kill Me, the Church of the Subgenius expansion for the Illuminati New World Order Deluxe Edition. So this is the 1995 Inno collection I've been able to acquire since then. Currently in this nifty custom-made box, including the rules, which I might change to a binder since I doubt I'll ever play this version of the game, seeing how much it's worth on eBay. As you can see, they're all ordered by type, as this version of the game was a deck builder, much like Magic the Gathering. Here's the complete factory set, which features one card of everything and has alternate rules to play with as a deck builder. It has resource cards, which are purple cards that pretty much work like instants in Magic. You play them, the effects get resolved, and you discard them. There are plots, which are small assignments that you have to make. Of course, the New World Orders, which are already explained, and a lot of groups in this set. As you can see, plenty of doubles since this was a trading card game. So within this set are pretty much the same factions as in the deluxe editions, minus a couple. So once more we have the Technocratic, the Network, the Aliens as the UFOs. We have the Assassins, the Traditionalist and Magical branch with the Adepts of Hermes. The mysterious Bermuda Triangle, which I always equated with Atlanteans and other submarinal powers. The Mysticals from the Shangri-La. The Bankers from the Gnomes of Zurich. The Servants of Cthulhu, the Discordian Society on which this game was based, as well as with the excellent Illuminati trilogy by R.A. Wilson, and of course the Bavarian Illuminati that started it all. Here's a quick run through of most of the cards that I have in my possession. Illuminati Brainwash was another expansion introduced that allowed players to change a group's alignment, effectively turning liberals into conservatives, communists into governments, etc. It came with this nifty board and I think two new factions, namely the Telepaths and the Masters of Voodoo. But as with everything from this game, it was not and cannot be found out there at all. So I put on my naughty pants and printed my own version from a couple of images on the internet. Fortunately, as with everything with this game, I have yet to play with it. But at least I have it, so there.
The Illuminati and conspiracy theories has always intrigued me, from Echelon to MK Ultra, UFOs, Agartha, and even the little rabbit that caught fire, ran around and set a nature preserve aflame in Belgium, completely ignoring the fact weapons testing were rampant in the military domain next to it. The Illuminati strategy, movies, on and with conspiracies, myths, legends. This game scratches all that itch and combines it in a wacky, often disturbing reality that most likely isn't that different from the real world. Just look at how many cards predicted the future, and how many things that were deemed conspiracies actually were revealed to be true, conveniently when no one gave a rat's ass about them anymore. If you like conspiracies and would enjoy being a megalomaniacal society trying to control the world too, check out Illuminati by Steve Jackson and be sure to back or get the online version called Illuminati Confirmed that will be hitting our devices in the hopefully near future.
Okay, was that okay? Do I need to do it? What are you doing?